Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. My name is Trey,
I am Rungren.
and this is the 233rd episode of the podcast with the current temporary title of Twitch Bans? Question mark? But that title is subject to change based on what happens over the course of this podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube and you say, "Well, how did we get these titles? What's going on? There's a pre-show? You mentioned it, you reference it." You can check those out on Twitch live on Tuesdays and Thursdays for our Dungeons & Dragons podcast, 7 p.m. CT, over at twitch.tv/TH3 Full Spectrum.
Yes.
I think that's all my shilling I have to do for now, but we'll talk about the Patreon and the Discord later, so just keep that in your mind.
Hey. All right.
With that said, Rungren, I'm thinking about I should have probably talked to this beforehand, but I think we just call this section Weeks. Instead of going like your week, my week, I think we just go weeks.
Okay.
Because we have a bunch of crosstalk anyway.
Yes. Okay.
But why don't you start with your week, and I'm sure things will derail as they always do.
Perfect. That's exactly what we'll do. We're very good at derailing. So, I'm rereading a series of books called The Dark is Rising.
Okay.
Now, I originally read the whole series, when I was in 5th grade.
Right.
I just moved here from England, which, there's quite some culture shock going on, trying to understand some things. People telling me say something in English, and I'm like, we're speaking. Those confusions didn't go well.
Honor, color,
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff dealing with it, but this is set in Cornwall, which is my birthplace, and so there was a connection to it. Like, I read through it, and it's I think it's hard. It's a young adult series,
right?
Kind of old, but it's set in Cornwall. It pulls from like a lot of Arthurian and Gaelic legends, and she actually uses like Gaelic words in there, for some of the old. Let's say if they find like one of the characters finds a inscription or something,
right?
She'll actually have the old Gaelic written there. So I find that really cool. I know I'm not pronouncing any of it right, and I'm not about to try, but it's kind of a weird jump. If anybody's read the Chronicles of Narnia, if you've read them in not the order they were released, but chronological order, and you start with Magician's Nephew first,
right?
Where if you start with that first, you kind of get introduced to this main character. Then by the time you get to Lion Witch of the Wardrobe, you've kind of jumped to who the story's going to be about,
right?
And so the first book in the series is kind of like that. It's you're introduced. It's a good story in and of itself, but you're kind of just introduced to the world through it.
Right.
And now I'm in the second book, about halfway through it, and Will, who's the main character, who's I think he's an 11-year-old boy, and an old one at the same time,
right?
An ancient old at the same time. Now it's picking up, and the story's really starting to pick up and go. It's a pretty quick read, and I have a special connection to it, obviously,
right,
because of the history of it. But I think the story's really good, and if you like the Arthurian legends and stuff, it really kind of brings up some of the stuff that's not. She uses stuff in the Arthurian legends where the holes are.
I got you.
Right. So that's what's kind of like you have the story of the Holy Grail,
right?
That's set, right. You know that if you know who found it and how Gawain, all that good stuff. So Gawain, but you don't have like an epilogue to that,
right?
Like, did they hide it or what? So she uses the holes that are left, that aren't filled in per se by Arthurian legends, and weaves a very nice tale. I don't think if you're a high like a high level reader and you read fast, you can probably knock the series out in a couple of weeks.
Right.
If you're mid to you read a little bit slower on that, it might take you, it might take you a couple 3 months to get through.
Okay.
But it's very enjoyable. Everybody's got a different reading speed.
Yeah, for sure.
There's probably people out there knock all 4 of them out in a week.
Right.
And I can't do that. I can't.
There's I don't know if you pay attention to like a lot of booktubers, but there's a guy by the name of Daniel Green that has a YouTube channel that he does like book reviews, and he will just like crank those things out. And I know he's got to be just reading like 18 hours a day. And it's like, I don't know how you, man, the eye strain, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if you have an audible version of it.
Yeah.
And you could double the speed on it as you read along.
Yeah.
Perhaps that might be, that might help. I don't know. That might help a little bit. Read faster or whatever.
Right.
Like often I got to go back and reread the paragraph I just read. So
right, I'm the same way.
It takes me a minute.
I have that problem of like I want to remember everything that might be important, so I'm going to reread everything.
Yeah, that's and like I've read Lord of the Rings multiple times. It always takes me a couple of months each time.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot easier to parse than the book that I've been rereading.
Yeah,
which is The Count of Monte Cristo.
Nice. I haven't read that. No, that's the Three Musketeers sequel. Yes.
Yes and no.
Yes.
So it has some of the same areas, and it has some of the same characters, but it's children of, but it's in a different time period. By about 60 years, I think, maybe 70 years. And it's all focused on the sailing port town of Marseille.
Back when I was smart, when I was little, I'd read that, The Three Musketeers, and The Man in the Iron Mask, all kind of around the same time.
Yeah. I read Count of Monte Cristo first for a book report that my mother made me do when I was in school. And then reread it again because I really liked it shortly after graduating. And I've been now rereading it. It's very good, but having read a lot of other fantasy and a lot of other sci-fi and a lot of other stuff since then, it has that same problem that older prose does of it takes a while to get the point across. You have a conversation between two characters, and I love it, right? I think it's really good because it sets the stage for the scene. But I absolutely understand when these two characters could just tell you what they're trying to say, and instead they're dancing around the answer, because that's what it is, really. It's just as the classic sword fights are great dances of blade work. Good prose is a dance between two characters, both trying not to share too much, but trying to get the information they want. And I think Dumas is such a great author in that way, because every conversation between two characters that don't like each other is that in this book.
Well, it's a difference. I don't know. I love, if I say something that's going to make somebody angry. I love Stephen King, okay? I absolutely love Stephen King.
Yeah.
He is not, if you ask me if he's a great writer, I'm going to say no.
Right.
He's not. He's probably the best American storyteller. On that's two different things. And I think with, some people, I enjoy books on all different kinds of levels. And some people just want the story. So like Stephen King, who's, like I said, does an amazing, a lot of times, like the dialogue won't be written out. It just be kind of bounced back and forth.
Right.
It won't be actually divided up between the characters. You'll get little short sentences with quotations on them. There's just the way he writes it. And you go back to, like those older style, like you said, the Count of Monte Cristo. That's their writing when they had to put it on a whole nother level, right?
Right.
They had to be that one that was the only form of one of the only forms of entertainment.
Yes. At
the time, and so there was actually quite a lot of writing going on. So there had to be that higher something to catch, something to make the story.
That's right, to catch people's attention.
Yeah,
I think too we live in an age where people want information immediately. I mean, they can get it at their fingertips at any time, and so the longer you take to get an answer, the more agitated some people get, and that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting content that tells you what's going on immediately. You see a bad guy and immediately know he's a bad guy, But
right.
I think there's something also wonderful about something like the Count of Monte Cristo where immediately Danglars hates Dantes. In that very prologue chapter, Danglars hates Dantes, but he can't show it. So he has to dance around the fact that he hates him and try to make him look bad while still trying to praise him. And it's so wonderful to me because, again, it's that dance of lyricism that I love in these two characters of Morel and Danglars talking about one guy, Dantes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know. With visual media and stuff comes out, you kind of lost the idea of the soliloquy or the character having that thing. And it's not, you don't need that in a lot of movies or stuff like that. But it is those extended soliloquies, which would be or like that scene with two characters. It is cool to go back and look at that and see the flourish.
Absolutely.
Of the language. I'll do that.
I agree. Well, what else you been doing in your week?
Well, we got kids everywhere around here. So ended up watching Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah.
Not my favorite
Ghibli
studio game. Thank you. We have another studio to talk about, and for some reason, my brain got stuck on that. Not my favorite, but I think it sets such a precedence for like others, right?
Yeah.
And man, I realized watching it back, seeing it I don't know how many dozens of times, but realized watching it back the other day. That's really just the story is so simple, right? The story's really not deep at all. It's a young girl,
Howls is very
witch, young girl witch, and she starts losing. Spoilers, sorry, everybody hadn't seen it. But she has to find her inspiration and get her power back, right?
Absolutely.
This is not a story, but I realized more than anything, it was the artwork and the world that they set up.
Yes.
That captures that. And then in ones where, like, my favorite, personal favorite, Princess Mononoke.
Yes.
On that, where the story is much deeper.
Yes.
They have the artwork and that world building style already there. So that was really nice to watch that. Oh, and the first Scooby-Doo live action.
Yeah.
Movie, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many like continuing errors and just bad CGI, but I love it. I love it so much.
Very good.
And Velma's such a hottie in that movie. But yeah, I saw those two this week.
If we're talking
Anything
movies,
on your screens? Yes.
I've seen a good number of movies this week. So I had the variation of The Thing that we're not allowed to say for the sake of monetization this last week, and that's been fun. Did a lot of sleeping. It's really all I felt like doing. But my girlfriend and I watched a handful of movies to try and pass the time because we were both sick. And the first one we watched was Django Unchained, which I had never seen.
I love that movie.
So good.
There's what I can do without one part. They could cut down the manor scene there at the end of the shootout. They could cut that. That could have been a little bit shorter, but he was just going overblown with it. But I absolutely love that movie, and the casting, it was done perfectly.
Oh yeah. I don't want to spoil too much for this movie, and I also don't know as much we can say about this movie without bringing politics in. Right. You and I both know that we agree on where we stand on the issue, which is with Django. And with Schultz. Look, all I'm saying is I would have done the thing that Schultz did too. That's all I'm saying. But very, very good movie. Absolutely, I recommend it. I will say it's a little gory. So if gore is not your thing, it and the next movie I'm going to talk about, maybe don't watch those. But very, very good movie, and the music was top tier. Very good use of music.
The interaction between Jamie Foxx and I can't remember the other gentleman's name.
That played the German.
Yeah, he played the dentist, and he also played a phenomenal actor.
Oh yeah,
that just blew me away.
Yes.
And look, Don Johnson had me cracking up so much through that scene, and I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, no, I know.
It just shows just how absurd that kind of thinking is.
Yep.
And how easy it is to break down.
Yep.
Like young lady saying, there, "Oh, so you want me?" No. Oh, thank you for showing how stupid that is.
It's such
amazing
a good movie.
Absolutely good.
Well, and I love too that, again, skirting around issues that for some reason we still have today. I love that they got into the actual like logic of it in a way that I didn't expect them to, which is all flawed, of course, but the logic that people use to try and make it okay in their minds.
Oh yeah.
And they tackled it from every angle of that, basically. And I loved that.
Look, that movie is very fantasized.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, but not in the story it's telling.
Yes.
It also, you know, is going to tell the brutal truth as well. So, and Tarantino has seen a way to do that in the movies. He's going to be as brutal as possible.
Yeah.
Right. But it's also scenes that are such like overblown, you know,
absolutely,
like such intensity or such, whatever it's going for. It's
That's
a cool
a great
movie. I'm glad you watched it.
I am too. I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure where it would sit right now. I want to do a like top 25 movies of all time video.
Yeah.
At some point, because I did that for anime, and I need to redo that for anime. But I don't know where it would sit on there, but I'm pretty sure it's like top 25 because I really enjoyed it. There is a particular scene that I can't get into that involves dynamite that I was so happy with.
yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you know, just like for anybody who's like, well, why don't they just talk about it? There are specific words we can't use that aren't the words you're thinking I'm talking about, because they'll 100% get us demonetized if we bring up groups that are shown in this movie. But yes, watch the movie.
Absolutely.
I also watched both the Venom movies and had not seen those before.
Really? Did you like those?
I did.
That's cool.
They're interesting. Have you seen them?
No.
Okay, I won't spoil anything. I don't think it's quite the portrayal of Venom I expected.
Okay.
From the comics. But I like this version of Venom a lot. I wish somebody had told me going in, hey, this is not the Venom you're used to.
Right.
And then I would have probably looked forward to it more, I guess. Because, like, the Venom I'm used to is, like, psychotic, you know? And that's cool. Yeah. I love Carnage. I'm on record saying I love Carnage, you know?
Yeah.
But I think these versions of these characters are way more interesting in a lot of ways.
I still don't know why they never got Brock Lesnar to play Eddie Brock. If you don't know who Brock Lesnar is, look him up.
Yeah.
He did it. Even Brock, you know, just have the last name one and the first name another.
I think that in a lot of ways, the casting of Eddie Brock in every Spider-Man movie has been really weird.
Yes.
Just like the casting of Flash Thompson is in almost every Spider-Man movie. Like, Flash Thompson's not that hard to pull off. He's a jock. What are you doing? What is the Marvel Spider-Man? He's this little kid. What are you doing? But I think that Eddie Brock has done really well in this movie, and I think that Tom Hardy's portrayal of both Eddie Brock and Venom is very good. I like that it's the same actor for both, cool. Because it really sells you on that they are two halves of the same whole kind of thing. It's a very good movie, and I recommend it. I think the sequel is not quite as good as the first one. There are some choices made in there that are very interesting. In fact, like a character does something that I find completely detestable for any human being to do. And it's played as like she's doing the right thing. And I won't say what it is for the sake of...
Okay.
And this character's still treated like a hero later and everything's fine. But...
I have to look it up now.
But it really bothered me. But other than that, I think the movie's very good. I like Venom a lot. And I'm looking forward to what else they're going to do with it. But again, gory. So keep that in mind. Does not hold back. I think the first Venom is like an 8.59 out of 10 maybe. And Carnage is like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay. That's still not bad scores on either one.
I liked them quite a bit. And then finally for watching, I started a TV show And when I tell you, I don't know if you've heard about Peaky Blinders or not.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I think I know what time period it is, so I may discuss the time period. Hey, Dark.
When I tell you that it is about Irish mobsters in the post-World War I era, Birmingham.
Yeah.
You're probably not surprised why I'm watching it. It's very, very interesting. I think I've said this before on the podcast. I know you know this. I love period pieces. I love stuff that focuses down on a time in history in a very specific place and focuses on what it does to people. And Dark, there are a lot of Irish girls in this show. Just throw that out there. Because I agree. But no, it's very good. I think that it's not. There are some choices they make that make me go, man, this is a weird choice. Specifically, there are some. You know how most shows will do a shot that I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm sure you know, but it's the shot to just show you where you are,
like a from above or something like that.
Like above, or like in a Game of Thrones, they'll do like a shot of King's Landing before they cut to a scene in King's Landing. Just to make sure you know where the characters are. I think this show could benefit from it because a lot of the alleys in Birmingham look exactly the same in this time period. And I'm like, okay, well, are we in the alley by the dock? Are we in the alley over back over there? Where are we? So yeah, it's good though. I like the characters so far. I love the music because of course there's Irish pubs, so there's music. Very good so far.
So this would be. So you said after World War I?
Yeah.
Once that they're running off the docks and building connections to America?
That's the goal. And the gangs are trying to just eat up all the cash that's lying around. Guys trying to get over the war and move on with their lives. Women that are now trying to deal with the fact that they don't have these jobs anymore that they held for 4 to 5 years, and are now expected to just go back home. And it's the really interesting dynamic that is almost never covered in media of like, what is life like when people have to try to come back, what is normal anymore after the war?
Right. That's interesting, man. And I have heard of the show. I've seen
Call Cthulhu playing Irish girl. Nice.
Clicks. Do that. Dairy Girls. Oh, okay, Dairy Girls.
Or away from Northern Ireland? Yeah. Well, and it's really interesting to see, like, the IRA is in this. Of course they are, the Irish Republican Army.
Yeah.
So it's, there's a lot of cool stuff. I like it so far. I'm only 4 episodes in, though.
Yeah, which there should be quite a few more acronyms coming up, depending on how many years it goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how far it goes.
Okay.
I guess I should say, too, for shows, I finished The Witcher, Season 2. Enjoyed that quite a bit.
Okay.
Curious to see how things go for Season 3. Henry Cavill plays Geralt so well, but I still can't get over the voice.
Okay.
Like from Season 1 to Season 2, he did so much work on getting the voice better, but it's still just not the rocks that I'm used to hearing, Geralt walks into a room and goes, "Hey." And Henry Cavill walks into a room and goes, "Hey." And it's just not the same, But it's like he's trying to grind rocks. But he does such a good job. I can't blame him, So. There is quite a bit, Dark. That's all I'll say. There is quite a bit. But I also think the action's really good. I do think Season 2 is a little bit weaker than Season 1. There's some things that are like really easy to figure out for the viewer that the characters, they don't just not figure it out, they drag out the reveal. And so it's like, okay, that's fine. We'll get there. It's okay. We'll get there. But I do think that some of the character moments are super worth it. So.
Okay. Has Season 3 already been signed off on?
I believe it's been signed off on. I can double check, but I don't think it's been like announced like when they're going to begin filming.
Do you feel like this is a bridge season to get them through with everything that's happened, because it takes a long time to film this.
It does. It for sure does.
And it's been a year. So there's been a couple of years in, I don't know how long they've been into this season. It took them to get or film the season. I know with this stuff.
Yeah, they are filming it now.
Witcher 3?
Yeah.
The season 3? Yeah. So does it feel like a bridge? Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like the Dark World, Thor: The Dark World, and thing that feels like a bridge movie to me. It doesn't. It's okay by itself,
right?
But as it's kind of a bridge in there. It works.
Yeah, I don't think so because this is still covering Witcher 1, the game.
Oh.
In a lot of ways, it has some stuff. It's like because it's following the book and not the games. That's one thing that everybody that's interested in this should know. It's following the book, not the games. So some stuff that happens in the first game is still happening now, and some stuff that happens in the second game has already started happening. Because in the book, it all takes different time periods. The book and the games have different.
Well, props to them then, because it'd be much easier to just take the game's already laid out and almost shot for you.
Right.
So.
And there was some stuff that they, didn't get right in the first season that they fixed in this season. Like a character named Triss has extremely bright red hair in the book and the games. And in season 1, she's got like really dark auburn hair. And so in season 2, now her hair's a lot lighter.
Okay.
They're trying to get it more in line with everything. But.
Well, look, I've seen quite a few. I've seen a couple of interviews with Henry Cavill. And yes, he looks like Superman.
Right.
I said, that is a very handsome man.
Yes.
Right? But he is a nerd.
He is. And he loves the Witcher series.
Yeah. Yeah. And he loves The Witcher. Warhammer's a big one for him stuff. So, maybe season 3, they'll start listening to him. Because I know he wants to do a Warhammer.
Yeah. For sure.
Thing as well.
I want to see him be Reboot Gilliman or let him play as McCrag. Bring him in. All I'm saying is, hey, Henry Cavill, if you want to come on here and talk about your favorite Warhammer faction, you absolutely can. We'll talk about how Sisters of Battle are super cool. That's all I'm saying. In season 2, I think she's still 14. I believe, though, of course, the actress is getting older. There's not much they can do about that. So they'll probably age her up in the show.
The only place to find Galavant is on Hulu. That's a shame. That's one of the few musicals I'll recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that does it for me with TV shows and movies.
Yeah. You been playing anything this week? I've had a chance to play one thing.
What'd you play?
I went back. I wanted to shoot aliens, so I went to Gears of War.
Nice.
I like the original game.
14,
there's not a Gears of War.
Dark 14.
There's not a Gears of War game I don't like, but it does kind of feel like it loses its way as you go along.
Oh, for sure.
A Gears of War game doesn't need to be. You should be able to beat it in a few hours. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's you go through the mission, and I think Gears of War is still my favorite. Son.
Yeah.
Marcus Dom's there. Shot aliens, threw some grenades in some holes, and that's fun. I'm pretty sure everybody here's seen that or played that, but that's where I went back to. Not that.
Yeah. No, Gears of War is so much fun. I love everything to do with the Coltrane. It's a great character, and I like the Carmine brothers. I'm that weird guy that likes the Carmine brothers.
Yeah, poor guys.
I know.
Poor guys.
I also think that Gears 1 has one of the best scenes. I don't know if we're talking spoilers or not, but that's one of the best scenes with like an enemy general that just shows up and is epic. Like, I don't use that word freely, right? There are a lot of video essays on YouTube that will go epic for everything, but like I mean it. He shows up and he's great. Ram is amazing, and then you kill him.
Well, it's also there's one right. Gears of War 1 benefits from a few. One of the things is that nobody's seen this world before,
right?
And so once you understand the Berserker, it's not that intimidating,
right?
But the first time you play through that, and that's the way it sets up that first scene, that's a great story point.
Oh yeah,
but.
What's the second guy's name? General Karthus? Is that it? In Gears 2?
I don't remember.
The guy with the big like dreadlocks and the big staff? I liked playing as him in the versus mode, but other than that, he's nowhere near as cool as General Ram.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of nothing. I've been playing a lot of idle games on my phone in bed. Because again, the Scourge was, yeah, that's right. He was called the Scourge. That's right. Where did I come up with Karthus?
I have no idea.
No, for anybody who might have missed it, I have, I guess, I'm tested again today and we'll find out, the variation of the thing we can't talk about. So I've been sleeping a lot, but it also means I've been playing a lot of games in bed, which are mostly idle games. I've still been playing combat cards, the Warhammer combat cards. They had an event going on, which is like Karthus, the character from Star Wars, probably. Also a character from Diablo, right? But I don't know. But no, it's a League of Legends character. That's right. Karthus.
Who?
League of Legends. That's where that name came from. I just literally stole it from him. They had an event going on with Necrons versus Eldar, and I got pretty high up in that. I was just laying in bed, half asleep. So that was nice. But the two games I really want to talk about today are both really weird. The first one is Idle Apocalypse, and it's probably the one that most people will be more interested in. You are a wizard who wants to blow up the world. And so you build up your wizard tower with your minions, and some heroes come to stop you. And it's very tongue-in-cheek. There are two heroes that are fighting the monsters and one healer. And the healer is just out of the range of your magic. So all you can do to keep the heroes at bay is just keep sending... Like, he's literally like a step out of the range of your magic. And you could probably go out there and hit him with something, but you're busy running your tower. So, right. You can only send your minions to go fight them and keep them at bay. But when your minions die to the heroes, then you get drops from your minions. And so you use those to upgrade more things in your tower. And it's fun, but it is very much an idle game. It is set some stuff to generate, come back a couple hours later and have a bunch of that resource and spend it, and then switch resources. And it's very heavily monetized. You can spend money to get second generators so you don't have to switch. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to beat this game without having to spend a dime. But I just really like the idea, the way that it does the reset, because all idle games have like a reset, right? Is that eventually you summon a fell demon to try and destroy the earth, and depending on how much you build him up, he gets to destroy more, and you spend the souls that he captures to upgrade your tower more permanently. And then you start over again, because the only thing he managed to destroy the first time for me was the tower. So, but it's fun. It's something you can just do for a couple minutes and then sit down and come back to later, you know?
All right. Let it run.
Far Cry 6.
6, yes.
The other game, which is way more interesting to me, but I think will be way less interesting to most people, is Wildlife Incremental Idle Game, which is created by a zoo. Incremental. It's created by a zoo for the sake of making money, I'm sure, but also for the sake of giving information about animals and the environments they live in. So if you've ever played something like an Adventure Capitalist or something like that, it plays like that, where you have a meter, and as the meter fills, you can click it to get your money, and then the meter fills again, and you click it, and you can upgrade it. When it hits certain tiers, it doubles the bonus, and it'll fill faster, you know? But you can hit the reset when you do all the quests, and when you reset, you get cards. And these cards are animals, and you upgrade them based on how many you get. And the animals have like a blurb that you can click on that you get free gems for reading of the paid currency to read about that animal and its environment. And then once you have that animal set up, you can upgrade it, of course. But you can go to a view where you just scroll around your environment and you can see all the animals you collected. Click on them. They do like little animations. And it's really interesting in that way. I want to fill out the whole environment. Again, you could spend money. Not really need to. This one is not only not heavily monetized, it gives you so much free stuff. Because, again, it really feels like they want you to learn about these animals.
That's cool.
But I actually really like it. It's one that I'm going to recommend. My siblings got tablets for Christmas from my parents. And so it's what I'm going to recommend them download, is something where they can read more about animals. Mystery Incorporated is on Amazon Prime with a free 7-day trial of Boomerang. Nice.
That's a good one. Oh, that's the best cartoons we do.
Yeah, Mystery Incorporated.
Yeah.
I do like What's New Scooby-Doo just for the theme song. What's New Scooby-Doo? Can't sing any more of that because of copyrighted, but you know. If you ever want to hear the rest of it, check us out over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month to be able to get into the Discord where I'll sing the entire Mystery Incorporated theme for you if you want. Just let me know.
Right on.
Told you I was going to throw that back in there somewhere.
Excellent, sir.
I think that's weeks, unless there's anything else you wanted to mention.
No, that's about all that's going on. I think I'm ready to dig into this news.
Yeah.
That you dug up today.
Right off the bat, I have my favorite piece of news, which is there's a new Armored Core being rumored.
I think this is really cool because this is a studio going back to its roots.
Yes.
Because the studio, it slipped my mind. The studio that made it. This is what the studio used to be known for. From Software, yes. This is what they made. They made Armored Core. And then they made it Then they got kind of popular off of a couple other little games. What they call? Oh, Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That kind of got big. And Bloodborne. That kind of got big. So, yeah, man, I'm kind of excited. This is really cool. And I'm wondering, because of what they learned over those two games, how they're gonna change, what they're gonna make this new game.
I am too. Because for anybody who doesn't know, Armored Core is very different playstyle wise from like a Souls. It's still incredibly difficult, but it's now about dodging the missiles from a distance, firing off, making sure you're giving enough covering fire to be able to clear the field, or to have enough chaff equipped to be able to keep the field clear so you can focus on your targets and take them down. It's all about movement. It's all about speed. They're so fun. But I'm also really interested, like you, if it's going to change based on their recent success and the fact that it's still being led by Miyazaki, most likely, because of some of the stuff. Basically, for anybody who doesn't know, there was a survey. And in this survey, it was very, very short, but in the survey, they asked questions about, like, you know, hey, would you play a new sci-fi world created by Hidetaka Miyazaki? So it's like, well... You know.
Yes.
Journey to Jaburo for new consoles would be great. But yeah, it's very cool looking. There are some screenshots that have leaked out, but I'm not going to put them on this podcast because the post on Resetera that was put up got taken down and had to be put back up with the screenshots like blurred out a little with like lines put through them. So they're not going on this podcast for you to see them. You can look them up for yourself. I'm not getting this taken down. But it looks very nice. Some of the effect work, if the effects look this good in motion as they do in screenshot, this will 100% be winning some awards for visual display because it looks really nice.
Yeah, and I'm really wondering how they're going to take advantage of the abilities that multiplayer has now.
Yeah.
You know, that could be something, I don't know. Looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get, like you said, not much information, but that is really cool. Yeah.
Missing the RPG that costs like $200. Yeah. Emulations to go for most of that stuff. But, no. And for people that want to play Armored Core 4 Answer is the most recent one. It came out like 2012, I think. Yeah. That's how long ago it's been. It's not as good as the older ones, in my opinion. But if you just want an Armored Core to play, I think that's the only one that's currently available on PS4, Xbox One. So, and Xbox One, it's from back compat, and I think PS4, it's PS Now. So. You can play Armored Core 2, though. Oh.
So the last game was on the PS3.
Yeah. And you play it on PS4 through PS Now.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. And 360.
That's how long it's been.
Golly. Okay.
But Armored Core 2, if you can get a hold of it, if you have a Vita and you can transfer it from a PlayStation to the Vita, Armored Core 2 is so good. Such a good game. But let's talk... Because we started talking about movies more on this podcast. I can't spell Jurassic, apparently. Let's talk about, and this is not like huge news, but I want to talk about the hilarity that has come from this. Jurassic World Dominion is adding DeWanda Weiss to the roster of characters. Don't know yet who she's going to play. But the production still is hilarious. I'm going to pull that up on the podcast because that's public domain. There we go. And I will downsize that. But for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, this is what the internet's been laughing over for the last day. Because
arm.
What is that knife going to do if they're fighting dinosaurs?
Well, hold on. If you see the bigger picture, she's holding a taser.
Yes, she is. She's holding a taser in the bigger picture. What is that going to do against dinosaurs?
That's right. You shock it, I'm going to stab it.
That's right. And so, of course, this scene is proudly for when they're fighting off, like standing off against people, if I had to guess. But it's just the hilarity of like Jurassic World Dominion ads, and here's the picture you show. Like, what? What are you doing? Well,
Absolutely.
Yes, one-on-one, you could probably kill a velociraptor with a knife, but you're not going to be one-on-one against one, are you?
Right. And I'm pretty sure you're still not going to walk away feeling well.
Yeah.
On that, but yeah.
So
I guess if Dark's talking about the real velociraptors,
right?
Probably,
yeah,
they're like the size of a chicken. So
yeah,
we're kicking and stomping heads and stuff. I think I'd rather have a golf club if I was fighting those though than a knife. Just saying.
100%. I love the replies and everything, and you just have people going like, "Oh no, that knife is there." Because he's going to throw it and it's going to hit a dinosaur in the eye. And all I'm saying is, Twitter, if that happens in this movie, you called it?
You called it.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Because
why else? Why else? She stuns if you slit their throats. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I am just taking on good faith that Dark's still talking about this still.
Yeah, right. So next up in our news, we have kind of an interesting one. Because we have the Raid we'd already been told before that the Raid was getting a Netflix remake.
Yeah.
But we got some more information about that. And you have seen the Raid, haven't you?
Yes, and I'm not really happy with Netflix about this one either.
Mm-hmm.
One, I understand, like this is an Indonesian film.
Yes.
The original film was Indonesian. And name another Indonesian film.
Well, and what makes it so interesting to me is the original one was still written by Gareth Evans, but it was directed. I mean, he helped direct it, he co-directed it, but the whole rest of the team was Indonesian.
The whole team's Indonesian. Yes,
it doesn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. It didn't get out, and not only that group of people made a very highly influential film.
Yes, that movie changed movies forever.
It did. You can even if you go through and watch John Wick, if you've seen The Raid, you're going to find nods to The Raid in John Wick, especially in I think it's the last one, right? Part 3.
Yeah,
the last one. That whole movie is a nod to The Raid, and a lot of the old Hong Kong films and some of the Japanese theater like Old Boy and things like that.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's what makes The Raid so special is they went, hey, what do people love about Once Upon a Time in China? What do people love about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? It's like, well, they love the fights, but they don't just love the fights. They love how visceral and close the fights are. And you can see in that, I mean, when we talk about The Raid, everybody thinks about that scene in the hallway, right?
Yeah,
that hallway scene has so many parallels to not Crouching Tiger, Once Upon a Time in China 2, with that fight scene between I can't remember his name now. I just completely slipped my mind. The main character and the lieutenant, where they have the two spears, and it's so close and it's so visceral. And then again, as you said, we see that in more movies over and over nowadays, following that logic of, hey, let's follow this in a single shot of this fight scene. And I'm with you. This is kind of like the Train to Busan thing for me of, even if it's good, we didn't need a remake just to make a Raid 3.
Well, just do what other people have done. Make a movie. This inspires you to make a movie?
Yeah.
Make a movie. Make an original one.
Absolutely.
Michael Bay's gonna produce this, so I get, at the end of every fight the loser's gonna explode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I need to go back. I need to go back and look at because Patrick Hughes
yes
is set to direct this.
It's so weird that Gareth Evans isn't getting to direct this either. Like, he's gonna be executive producing, and Patrick Hughes is gonna co-write the script with James Beaufort. It's not even gonna be Gareth Evans' movie anymore.
That's
The Daredevil one too. Absolutely.
Absolutely, that was a great hallway scene. And yeah, like Dark agree with you. You know, I'd be down for the Raid 3. Go ahead, do that.
Green like that, Netflix.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't want to get too political here, but I feel like there is a weird racism in the idea of, like, we can't just enjoy this foreign movie for being good. We have to make our version of it. Because it's like, you can't just go like this foreign movie. You have to see the American version.
Yeah.
Why not?
See, like I said, it's a totally different thing if you're inspired by it. Like I said, like the John Wick movies, like talking about Daredevil. And honestly, we could probably go down through a list of fight scenes in movies and stuff. You know,
Mission Impossible Fallout has a really good close fight scene in the bathroom where it's not, there's only one cut, I think, that is definitely inspired by one of the fights in the raid.
Absolutely.
He goes, he goes so good.
So I don't know, it seems cheap to me. And I think, you know, the people that put the time in and worked on the original raid, that made something so special.
Yes.
You know, in a place where normally, I mean, like I said, name another Indonesian movie.
Right.
And I can't.
No, I can't either. Not off the top of my head.
Made something so special just to like take it and go, okay, no, we're going to do it in Hollywood now.
Yeah, 99% of the time, it's way better than U.S. remakes. It's 100%. Because that was the original vision, right? That's what it was going to be. Mataru, ooh, you're right. I think stuff like when you go back and watch the movies that The Grudge is based on, you know? It's so much better. The Wailing is an incredible movie. It just... I don't understand why we have to remake these things, you know?
I know, I go film. Dark's like, you have stepped into my domain. My domain. I will name every Indonesian film.
Yeah. There's even some talk about redoing some Bollywood movies over here, and it's like, you're gonna lose all the charm. What are you doing?
Yeah. Now, are you taking? Is it a story? Okay. Is it a story that fits everywhere?
Right.
Because if it is, that's fine.
Sure, make your own version of it. Go for it.
It was I'm really looking forward to, like, how many times has Macbeth or Hamlet been done?
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Romeo and Juliet in different time periods,
absolutely.
Right? And I think you can put like Macbeth or Hamlet, or I think you can put those in any time period and adapt it to that. So if that's kind of story, that's fine. But the fact is, you know, I'm sure that these Bollywood movies are filled with a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that's going to relate to a Hindi community and a community that goes around Hindi, and that's part of what makes it.
Yeah.
You know, I would rather watch the Bollywood because one, I'm going to see stuff I don't see normally. Right. Two, and I have a firm belief in this. You know, if you want to, I've said it before. If you want to, you know, if you want to know about a culture, read their history.
Yes.
But if you want to understand them, you know, watch their fiction, read their fiction. Absolutely. You know, and so I don't know, the whole remake and grab is just kind of disturbing.
Well, and I think there's ways to do it right, like you said. I think we talked about Count of Monte Cristo a minute ago, but like Gankutsuo is an anime version of Count of Monte Cristo set in like 4022 with mechs and an incredible art style, and it does the story justice because it's not trying to be Count of Monte Cristo, it's trying to be Count of Monte Cristo in space, which is a cool way to do it. You mix it up, you know. But then you have stuff like Netflix is making a One Piece anime, and there was an interview where they mentioned, or One Piece live action, because the anime, and they mentioned that they were doing that because the other popular series they wanted to do was Gintama, and they can't bring Gintama over to a live action because it's too steep in Japanese culture. So they went for One Piece. And it's like, you can't. It's not this. I'm going to watch the One Piece one. We're going to see, but I don't think it's going to be One Piece. I think it's going to be something completely different.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm thinking about older story. The Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
That's a fantastic Japanese film. You know what? The old Western with Yul Brynner.
Yeah. Very good.
Magnificent Seven. Yep. It's that story.
There's a Chinese version too, Seven Swords.
Yes. And they
Very good.
It's a story.
It's because they took the core of the story, but then retold it their way.
Yes.
Instead of just going, well, we're going to make our version of this thing, they actually made their version of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jijiganin was totally underutilized in it. That's a shame. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the One Piece live action. It could be good. I don't think it will be, but it could be good. The Cowboy Bebop live action didn't astound me, and before that we had the Death Note live action, and that was not good. And before that we had the Full Metal Alchemist live action, and that was okay. And we had the Kenshin live action, and that one was not too bad actually. But I don't know. I don't know. All I'm saying is the Kenshin movies that have Takeru Sato in them, who loves that series, are good. I can say without doubt those are good, But yeah, the Death Note animes, the Death Note live actions that were done in Japan are very good. The Bleach one that was done in Japan is very good. But the Death Note that was done over here in the US, not so good.
It's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's kind of like the Dragon Ball movie that was done over here. We don't talk about it.
Avatar.
It doesn't exist.
Airbender movie.
Yeah. Young.
You know what? I'm just going to blame you, Bowl, from now on for bad adaptations.
Well, speaking of Avatar, there was a Twitch streamer that recently streamed some Avatar The Last Airbender by the name of Pokimane.
Yeah, she wasn't the only one.
Live action Bleach or the other. Yeah, I understand. You shouldn't. I don't.
Which I found out.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
There's a lot about this I'm not quite sure what's going on with. Because Pokimane and Disguised Toast are both from the same group of streamers called Offline TV. And they both did this almost simultaneously, and neither of them really had a reaction on Twitter when it happened. And so it almost feels like they're doing it on purpose. But why would you do that? Why would you risk your job like that?
You know what the excuse was for? Because look, now Pokimane Disguised Toast got banned.
Yeah.
Hey, show. They got banned, but a week ago, 40 Twitch streamers got arrested.
Yes.
Over this.
Yes.
Right. Now, they put up they just showed Avatar.
Yes.
And Death Note, right? That's what I got here.
Avatar and Death Note. Yeah.
No comment. No. How lazy can you be?
So I should specify that Pokimane and Disguised Toast were actually reacting to it. They were talking. They weren't just showing it.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. You can't do that on Twitch. You signed when you registered with Twitch, and especially both of these people are partners. They signed agreements saying they can't do that, and then they did it anyway. And then, of course, my biggest issue with this is with Twitch, and not because I'm not going to defend this decision here. You cannot stream copyrighted material on a public platform. When people have to pay for it, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's just not how that works. But I think Twitch needs to be way more, what's the word? Where it's diligent, way more even with their responses. Pokimane got 48 hours. Disguised Toast got a month.
Yeah.
For doing the exact same thing. So it is transformative. That's not the problem. It got DMCA'd from the people who own it. Because it's a live stream. It's one thing when you put it up on YouTube because YouTube's rules are different. But Twitch's rules are you cannot live react to content that is owned by someone else without their permission. So when it's a YouTube video, you can react to that because it's put up on a public platform. You publicly have their permission already. People can then come back and say, hey, I did not give my permission for this. I don't want this. But companies like Nickelodeon or Japanese companies that have made their shows do not give Twitch permission to have their stuff shown, and it's not public content, so you can't stream it. And that's why you'll see people constantly stream YouTube videos, and they're fine. But when you go to stream this stuff, it's not okay. It's against the rules.
Well, Twitch doesn't have a DMCA algorithm, does it?
No, it's all user done. It's not auto done.
Onto that. So there's probably a few more getting away with it right now then.
I'm sure. And my guess is somebody from Nickelodeon found out about it because these are big streamers. Yeah. Pokimane's in the top 100. I think she's in the top 50. And somebody from Nickelodeon found out about it. It was Twitch. Hey, what are you doing? Stop this. It's like, all right.
Click.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the difference, because I've reacted to stuff on YouTube too, but it's why I react to that stuff on YouTube and not on Twitch.
Yeah.
Simply not saving the videos this best way. Yeah. I think the other big thing to remember with it is if you want to do a watch together with your people on Twitch, there are ways to do it. Literally a website called Watch Together, and people have to own the content to be able to view it. Or you can do Netflix share grouping where people have to have a Netflix account to be able to do it. There's tons of ways to do it, and then you don't stream that. You just stream you. Twitch has no problem with that. So it's the fact of I want to show this on my stream because I know people want to see it. I had to pay to get it, or I stole it, and it's a whole different conversation as to whether that's something that is okay or not. It's very expensive to get Death Note right now unless you're streaming it. But having it up there where everybody can see it, people made that. People worked on that and put a lot of work into that, and those people deserve to get paid. And the same for a YouTube video. I have a big issue, as you and I have talked about before, with people going, hey, I'm going to cut out the channel name for this video, and I'm going to cut out the title of this video so nobody can go back and give those people clicks. When hey, people worked hard on that. They deserve to get their money for it.
Yeah.
But my biggest issue, again, is the fact that this is not an even and fair punishment. Pokimane's a really big name, so she gets 2 days. And Disguised Toast is not as big a name, so he gets a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, where's the money come from?
Yeah.
That's a whole discussion for sure.
Dark, that is the whole thing, yeah. Of that, I even mentioned emulators earlier, because I have a very nuanced opinion on that, is maybe the way I'd put it. Where I think if you're enjoying something a lot, you should probably pay for it. But if you can't pay for it, you weren't going to pay for it in the first place. And that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But, it is really weird to me that this happened right after the arrests.
Yeah.
And both of them did it, which again made it feel like maybe they're doing it on purpose.
I don't know. Maybe make some kind of statement or something. I don't know. They had, what do they do to Hassan Parker?
Yeah. For sure.
He's just sitting there letting MasterChef run.
Yeah.
I don't think he got banned or anything.
Nope. He's fine.
I think he just got told to stop.
Yeah.
So.
That's Hassan.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's my opinion on it personally. Is look, if you can't afford something, I'm not gonna be that person that got roasted on Twitter saying if you can't afford it, then it wasn't made for you to begin with, and you shouldn't think you have the privilege of having it. Like, well, some people literally don't have money. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. I'm just saying they literally don't.
Yeah.
But brick mansions? I've not. No, is that any good? Copy of District B13.
Brick mansions. Dark, I don't remember. That sounds real familiar. I'll get back to you. No, I'll get back to you next Tuesday on that one. I'm going to look that up. Because I think I have. But I don't remember when.
Paul Walker's last film? Oh, okay. Oh, I definitely have not seen that. Yeah. I remember hearing about it and wanting to see it, but.
Yes. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's an okay film. I'm trying to remember it though. It has some like parkour scenes. There was a guy that was the guy that was in it with him. It has a lot of parkour scenes. Yeah, it's been a while since it came out, but it's not a bad film.
Okay.
It's not bad. Yeah, I can vaguely remember it.
Okay.
So, And I remember it not being horrible. So
I have one last question to ask you about this before we move on to the next news topic.
All right.
If you had a huge platform like this, would you risk it when you knew you could get in trouble for it and stream something publicly?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. Now, look, I don't know how crazy that much popularity makes you, but no, not when. Like, didn't Pokimane just do like YouTube and TikTok react to that?
She used to, but she also plays like Apex Legends and Minecraft and stuff like that.
Okay.
Never have a platform like her. Live on the edge.
I don't play your video game.
Yeah, that's 100%.
You're banking on. You're banking.
Or
play a video game.
Just stream it in your Discord, Pokey. Just literally, you have a Discord that I know is popular. Just stream it in your Discord.
Twitter fights.
Yeah, it's just so weird. This next one's also pretty weird. Let's talk about hashtag Save Red Dead Online. And I want to specify this by saying, hey, we all know I cannot stand Red Dead Redemption 2 in a lot of ways. I love the story. I can't stand playing it. I would never play Red Dead Online because it's that without the story. But I feel bad for these people. I just want to throw that out there.
Dude, beginning of the year, announcement for the game, the yearly plan for their game that these people love. Hey, yeah, no new content. There'll be some bonuses on already done.
Yeah.
If you've done thousands of times already.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not playing GTA 5. I think that should have been the end of the statement right there. Sorry, you're not playing GTA 5.
Yeah.
That's absolutely awful.
The last big update was in July 13th, 2020.
They don't want to deal with it. They want the game to die.
They've moved on from it, and they didn't tell the players.
Right.
Buying at least two tall geese models, maybe 3. Nice. Get all the variations. I feel bad because when you put that much time into a game, you build up your rank and everything, and then the devs just go, "Yeah, we're done. We'll see you later. We're out of here." You know. Wow. I don't get it. You know.
Well, it's what's sad to me is it's not surprising, right?
Yeah.
That Rockstar did this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like okay, seems about par for the course. You know. And like,
also,
I don't play Red Dead Online. I'm not a fan either, but yeah people put time and money into it.
There's a weird thing about it for me where it's like, we put this game out, we put this online out to boost this game. It won all these awards, and now we've moved on, and we just don't care anymore. We're going back to our cash cow, and it's like, man, that sucks.
Yeah, I think it's just a bad move, bad look on the studio. One thing that nothing new after the ridiculousness that was the last trilogy, trilogy, the
definitive,
definitive edition.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that and everything, it's just like I said, it's not surprising. Another company crapping on their players.
Yeah. Next up, we have kind of interesting news. Sega Sapporo has opened up.
Yes, so they were down to one office.
Mm-hmm. They closed a bunch of the Club Segas.
And they were down to the one office, which is outside Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
Their main office is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be in Sapporo.
Yeah,
that's the region it is. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to try right now because it's a prefecture of something else. But this is kind of cool, man.
Yeah,
I see this as a big bounce back for Sega
for sure,
and that gets me excited because I think Nintendo worked harder when Sega was on their butt.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say: Sega does what Nintendo don't.
The Halo game servers are closing down soon.
Really? That doesn't surprise me. It's as we move forward, people are just going to keep shutting stuff down.
Yeah.
Look, there's a whole, maybe if we have time today, that'll be the topic, is live service games the big pro of new content constantly coming out, and the big negative of eventually that server's going down. But I'm really excited for the future of Sega now, because we had mentioned a couple weeks back, maybe now, of when that last Club Sega closed down, that like, hey, this is looking bad. Because there's only one left, only one Club Sega left, and it's right in the big part of Kabukicho, and so it was kind of a shame to see that. And then now they have, like, you know, PSO2 is doing great again, new Star Ocean coming out, Monster, well, it's Capcom, but Sega's working with them for some crossovers. Monster Hunter crossovers are doing well. They seem to be, and the Sonic movies are doing great. Sonic games coming out, you know. It seems like we're back on the upswing for Sega.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. Seeing Sega doing well, it's good for the game industry as a whole.
Yes, it is.
In a weird way, I don't know how to quantify that or explain it, but
really hoping the Star Ocean's good. I'm really hoping it is after 5.
Yeah.
What was 5's subtitle? Integrity and Faithfulness? Is that it? Because that game did not have it.
Sounds like something a soccer mom has plastered on her wall. Right beside Live, Laugh, Love.
That's right. That's right. I don't think that we're going to get like the return of the Sega Genesis from this, right? I don't think it's going to be that much. But
no, I think they stay on the software side, gaming.
Yeah.
The games.
I think so too.
I think it'll be foolish of them to try to put any hardware out.
Till the End of Time is very good. It's a good game.
Oh. So I think I'm gonna stay on the software side. Like I said, the Sonic's kind of having a bit of a revival, so
yeah, those Sonic movies did really well for the Sonic brand.
They did. That's a good base.
Fighting with something when I should have just left it alone. There we go.
Are you messing with the text box again?
I was, because it's slightly just the edge of it's cut off. Murder's only 2 kills away from a serial killer. I mean, that's true. Yeah, that new Sonic looks a lot better than the old Sonic did, and I'm looking forward to the new movie for sure. But honestly, just because I love Knuckles, I'm not gonna even try to play around with you here. It's just because I love Knuckles. I'll watch literally anything if Knuckles is in it. So, you know. Well, let me preface it. There's a lot of things on the internet I won't watch that have Knuckles in them.
Rule 34, sir.
Yeah, a lot of things. I'll watch anything official that has Knuckles in it.
Yeah. Yeah, Sonic did look bad the very first time. I'm glad they fixed it.
Please don't send me Knuckles images, internet, please. My Twitter is now off the screen for a reason. Next up, we have kind of some exciting news. I know everybody's been kind of down on Pokemon lately, but they dropped a new trailer for Pokemon Legends Arceus that actually looks really good.
Looks really different than it. Like, you're the Pokemon guy. I'm not a fan of Pokemon, but the art, I like the art style in this.
Yeah, it looks really nice. A lot of people complained about the trees before in the original reveal trailer. I think the trees look a whole lot better here. What really I'm focused on is less the art style and the Pokemon themselves, and more more the mechanics side of things. The big thing that separates this game from a regular Pokemon game is that you're actually like going around exploring, and then you catch the Pokemon in the wild. You don't go to another screen. You don't go to a fight. You catch them in the wild. You're like sneaking up on them, throwing Pokeballs. And the UI has been changed to fit that in a way that I think is really cool. You can mount up and ride basically wherever now. And then you have I have a still taken of it here so I can look at it. But you have the like Pokeballs in the bottom right of the corner, and you can switch between different Pokeballs without having to go into your bag because you're throwing them on the fly. It looks really slick in a way that I didn't think it would. Pokemon UI's been kind of clunky for a long time, and so this looks very nice. I also think that the ride mechanic seems to have been enhanced here quite a bit from the original showing, where it was kind of just when you ride around on Pokemon, and you could do that in Sun and Moon, and it was okay, but it wasn't like great, you know. This looks a lot better for that. You can see some of the new Hisuian versions of Pokemon. that look really nice. And then the interaction between your Pokemon and the wild looks like you'll be crafting Pokeballs. You can cut down trees. There's a lot to love here for people that were looking for a new experience in Pokemon.
You know, it seems to me this is the first Pokemon game that they've made that seems like, hey, this is grown up with their fan base.
Yes.
You know, it seems like they've kind of kept because you talk about the UI being clunky and just a lot of the stuff that they kept the same and the same and the same and the same as the fan base, you know, kind of grew up. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It's probably the most interesting looking Pokemon game
I've
ever seen.
And we also got a release date, which is January 28th. So it's very soon.
One of the most important days in history.
Yeah. Want a proper Pokemon game put on Steam where you put literally every Pokemon and region in it and then allow people to buy DLC that have new regions of Pokemon in it so you can really catch them all. That would be great. That would require Nintendo to have any PC presence at all.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited for this. I am. I think that it's going to be very different in a lot of ways, and I hope it's more different than I think it is, honestly. I hope that it is a very different experience. You and I had mentioned it very briefly before we started things up here, that it looks like it's going to have a very different kind of story.
Oh, yeah.
And I want that because Pokemon hasn't focused on the story to its benefit in a while. Most recently, the last couple Pokemon games have had interesting stories, but stories that were far too invasive of gameplay is maybe the way to put it. Pokemon Sun and Moon have like an hour of cutscenes basically where your character moves to the next area and talks to somebody before you're given the freedom to just go catch Pokemon. Which is, that's a problem in my mind. These games are about catching Pokemon. They're not about that.
So I got it. I know what they need to do. Okay. Then they release a big open world Pokemon game, right? Where you go, you catch them in the wild. It's all a very smooth experience.
Right.
There's an arcade there where you can go and play all the old Game Boy games and all the.
It's the way to do it.
Because you could, honestly, really, would it be that hard to program, take that?
No.
Yeah.
But they won't do that because they want you to buy them again and buy the old hardware so you can play them again. Because it's Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's there's some very cool stuff.
Comes a long way. Company's come a long way since making playing cards, Good for them. Good for them.
That's true. That's very true. Oh. Yeah. People that are excited for that, I understand why, and I hope that you get
and I'll get stuck here. Yes, now they sell the game 4 times.
Yeah.
But back then they sell playing cards. They played the same game every time.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have advanced.
That's true.
Just
they even sell Hanafuda. I think they do. Hanafuda and I think it became more popular because they anime Chihayafuru. Isn't that Hanafuda or is that something else?
You got me, bub.
Not sure. Well, while we look that up, let's talk about E3 going online again this year.
Does this seem a little premature to announce that it's going to be online only? I mean, are people that clamoring right now? I guess they are.
People
right
want to know, yeah. They're chomping at the bit. That's it. I was going to say biting at the chomp.
All right.
Biting at the chomp.
We're biting at the chomp.
That's gonna be a new meme on this channel. What is the card game in Chihayafuru called? I'm trying to look that up as well. I'm gonna blame that for my mispronunciation there.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with.
I think it's a little bit premature, but I guess maybe they're planning ahead, or do they know something we don't? Dun dun dun.
That's the question.
Right there.
So Chihayafuru is Karuta cards. It's not Hanafuda. Biting at the chomp. Yeah, biting at the chomp. I think that I'm torn on this because I think realistically there was no reason for it to still be an in-person event anyway.
Yeah.
Like the studios weren't flying out.
5 years.
Yeah. Studios weren't flying out, Anyway, but I also I miss the conferences,
Yeah.
I miss the old conferences because what we get instead are just Nintendo Directs done by everybody else, some of which are way worse. It's like the fact, look, Sony, please listen to me. Please. You can do your state of plays. They're great. But when you do your E3 or you do your specialty shows, and it's like Nintendo Directs, but instead of that nice, clean Nintendo Direct screen where they go to the next game while they have just a little bit of voiceover, you do 20 seconds of shapes falling in a fancy rhythm while music plays. That is the most boring thing in the world to watch because it just repeats. I don't want to watch the shapes. Just show me your games.
Right. I got to build up anticipation.
I think if you go back and watch last year's E3 coverage for Sony, I was losing my mind.
I don't know. And on the other hand, E3 almost seems a little bit unnecessary in and of itself.
Yeah, it does. Just release your own stuff. Just drop your trailers. That's all anybody wants.
Everybody,
as Dark as put it.
Everybody, right. Make it announce on the PS, on the home screen on the PlayStation. Hey, new game announcements. Mm-hmm. Sony's got a website. Microsoft's got a website. Nintendo's got a website. They don't. It's really unnecessary. Most people are going to be getting it from the thing, and that's what they want. Like Dark said, show me the trailer. I want to show me what the gameplay is going to look like. Mm-hmm. Show me what art style you're putting in. And I will decide if I want to buy it. I don't need a big long lecture about what's put in it.
Yeah.
I know your game developers worked hard. I know your programmers worked.
Yep. Just show me the game.
Right.
That shows me they worked hard.
Exactly. Let me see the final product.
I don't know. People are. I think we've all, as a collective, realized that we don't need these award shows anymore or these trailer shows. And I think the studios have not, in a way that is really jarring. Because how do you not hear people talk about it?
Well, yeah, but for them, they all get to group up and pat each other on the back.
Yeah, that's true.
And kind of rub elbows and compete a little bit, and it's a group here. I honestly think the reason why they haven't is because they just do not understand. They're removed a little bit.
Yeah,
in their own little bubble that's constantly busy and constantly working, constantly putting out games, and they just don't understand that a little bit simpler. Like. You at Sony, you have a YouTube channel.
I agree.
Put trailers on it.
I agree. They're old fashioned.
Right. It doesn't need E3 is unnecessary at the end of the day.
Yep.
Like I said, I say that in 3 or 4 years it's gonna be VR rally only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Log into your VR headset. You can see it there.
Yeah. I'm in the Oculus section.
Yeah. Stop being involved with games. Like devs make games, let devs make trailers. Look, I wish devs got to decide what goes in their trailers. I wish they did. I really do. I think those trailers would be stellar. And they wouldn't spoil entire sections of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, the production, specialty marketing, specialty production, especially all this to, put it out that don't play the game. Their whole job is to market the game. But, like I said, if we're lucky, E3 will become a thing of the past.
Right.
And we, Sony, Microsoft, all the game developers, independent game companies, will put out the trailers so we can watch them.
Yeah.
As they come out.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Why everyone's waiting for this one day to put out the trailers? Just go ahead and put it out.
Just drop them whenever you want.
Doesn't have to be a secret.
What I really want is not even trailers. What I really want is I want a dev going, hey, here's our new game. Here's some gameplay. We're just going to sit and play the game for like 10 minutes. Watch the whole thing if you want. You can skim through it, whatever you want. You just literally have, like, say, Hollow Knight Silksong, whenever we hear about that at some point in the next 4 years. It's been 2 years since it was announced, so we haven't heard anything. Don't show me a trailer with story cutscenes. Don't show me a CG trailer. Just gameplay. Gameplay with a dev talking over it. That's all I want. Sakurai did that with the Smash reveals. Guess what? Turns out people will just watch that. It's great. Just show me some gameplay with a dev talking over it, and I'm in.
Yeah. Well, that's demos. Not enough games offer demos anymore.
Very true. And if you're going to make a demo for a story-based RPG, have it where it can transfer over, for goodness sake. Yeah. What are you doing? If you don't, I don't want to play the prologue again. I want to play the part where I get the cool powers again.
Right. Yeah. You don't even have to throw anything extra in a demo. Don't put the demo, put the first level out, whatever. Don't throw anything extra so it messes up what the game play will be later on. But yeah.
I agree.
Look, and I remember getting like, you could go buy magazines from Blood and Books, and they had a demo disc. Nintendo Power and would have codes, and then what was there was one for, I can't remember the golly.
That's true. Most of them are short nowadays. There was a time where they were not.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right.
Well, speaking of something else that probably doesn't need to be around anymore, you want to go ahead?
Yeah.
The next one.
Lego is considering ending their relationship with Activision Blizzard.
Stock price is cut in half.
Yep.
And all I've got to say, Yep.
I didn't expect it from Lego, honestly. I expected them to just put out the Overwatch 2 kits and just, move on. But 100% Lego's response is just, we're currently reviewing our partnership with Activision Blizzard, but giving concerns about the progress being made to address continuing allegations regarding workplace culture, especially the treatment of female colleagues, and creating a diverse and inclusive environment. While they will still make this kit, they then say, while we complete the review, we will pause the release of a LEGO Overwatch 2 product, which was due to go on sale on February 1st.
Yeah.
It may get shelved permanently, depending. And I can't blame them. Go for it. By all means, I agree with this decision.
Yeah, I can't. That I'm just like to say with it. I think they're going to make the right decision. But Activision Blizzard is still not taking the steps it needs to. Needs to.
I agree.
And you got to hit them in the pocketbook.
Yep.
It's the only place that works with a lot of those folks. So
I don't think so, Dark. I think you got everything. Bar called Blood Dragon. That is a very good choice for favorite tutorial.
Yeah, I was really trying to think, because there's been some tutorials. There's some tutorials that I love that aren't very good.
Yeah.
The original EverQuest has a really tutorial that I played a whole lot.
Yeah.
When the servers were down and stuff.
My favorite is not my favorite because I think it's the best, but it's my favorite because of what it did to the internet. It's the Cuphead tutorial.
I don't.
Dean Takahashi. Dean Takahashi.
I really. That's a fine question. Because a lot of tutorials, there's nothing special about them, right?
Yeah.
You just get a few button pushes and kind of walks you through.
Blood Dragons is very on the nose, and I love it. I think the only thing that would have made it better is if they were so on the nose, they went, you don't need a tutorial at the end of it, instead of still making you do the tutorial.
I will say that's probably my favorite Far Cry game.
Oh, Blood Dragon's so good.
Yeah. Just because the reference, of course, once again, there's things that come in pairs, and that came around the same time I found the movie Kung Fury.
Nice.
Which is only about 30 minutes long on YouTube. That's one of the places, if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It's amazing.
What is the protagonist of Blood Dragon called? It's like Colt Steel or something like that. Let me look this up. Rex Power Colt. That's his name. Yes. Yeah. I forgot. Oh, it's so good.
Really? I haven't seen the Blood Dragon Xbox for the Xbox One.
You try that for sure. Rex Power Colt. A Mark IV cyber commando who's part man, part machine, and all hero.
Oh, man. Oh,
his aliases are Rex Power Colt.
Yeah.
Man. I love the names in this. His commanding officer is Ike Sloan. His best friend is T.T. Spider Brown. And his love interest is Elizabeth Veronica Darling.
Oh, I love the fact that all those names are like were left on the G.I. Joe cartoon cutting room floor.
Yep. Sergeant Rex Power Colt reporting for duty, sir.
My darling.
Yeah, that's a great game. Everybody forgets about that is incredible. And then they made Far Cry Wild, and everybody forgets that one because they should.
Was that the Primitive?
Yep.
Yeah.
Was it Far Cry Primal? That's what it's called. Far Cry Primal.
Primal.
That's what it's called.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone should forget that one. Blood Dragon is for sure the best Far Cry game in my opinion. A lot of people say 3, but I think that's like Voss nostalgia. And I get it. Voss is cool, but like Blood Dragon.
Yeah.
Literally has blood dragons.
They do. And all those colors.
Yeah. The neon.
Yes.
Well, we have about 30 minutes till our normal end time.
Hold on.
You want to tackle topic?
Well, hold on. I have one piece of news.
Oh, yes. Please go ahead.
I scrounged up. That happened a couple months ago, but I think everybody needs to know about it. It's happened in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
A young boy named Theo, age 2. The story about him and his best friend Benny. Now Theo loves Benny.
Okay.
Not go out anywhere without him, and loves to hang out with him, feeds him, tickles his ribs and everything. Thing is, Benny is a 5-foot tall Halloween skeleton.
Okay.
Yeah. So his mom, what happened was there was a leak in their basement. Okay. His mom goes down there. It's not a bad little flooded area, right? So she goes down like there. Okay. It's flooded. Coming back up. She goes back upstairs. She hears her 2-year-old son yelling, "Mom, Mom, Mom, help, help." She runs back down the stairs, and her 2-year-old is trying to drag the skeleton up the stairs.
Oh.
Yeah, and ever since he saved it from the flood, this is his best friend.
Okay.
He goes to the park with him and watches movies, and apparently one of his favorite things to do is feed Benny and watch the food fall through. This child seems to think that is hilarious as shit.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I know you did a lot of work pulling up all those news stories today. So I went and found one, and I wanted to bring up on that. I just thought that was something that everybody should know.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, look, at the end of the day, there's something magical about just watching food fall through a skeleton's ribs, you know?
I can't imagine that mom hearing it's not a bad flood, right? Not a whole lot of water down there, and her 2-year-old Mom, help! I gotta save the guy. Yeah, and he's named after Benny from Halloween Town.
Of course, yeah, of course.
So,
well, all right then.
It's the news that everybody needs to know.
What? Let me roll on our table here again. Looking for some other good topics here. If anybody has any, Alexa, roll a 20-sided die. 6. Grinding is actually good for video games. I think this is going to be a really interesting topic for you and me to discuss, because you and I both love older RPGs.
Yeah.
And grinding is something that people hate nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no, I like Gundam Strike.
Well, I think, obviously in Lotro, there's grinding.
Right.
Right. And I actually enjoy the Lotro, the grinding in Lotro, because it almost becomes, if you're in the right area and everything, it almost becomes like an idle game for a little bit. You know, every once in a while you got to, you hit your tab and target, so it's not bad. So I think, yeah. Forced to read them at school. I don't Now, I will make a caveat. I don't think I've ever liked grinding in a single player game.
Right.
I really can't think of one where I've been like,
I think there are ways to do it. I think what you need for grinding to work is to incentivize it correctly, right? And I think the problem with the people have with grinding now is that they feel like they have to do it. And the common consensus is stuff like a Persona, which is very popular, you know, or Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac version that just came out. People hate grinding in that because, let's put it as simply as we can, a lot of people like to unga-bunga through games.
Yeah.
They don't like to put in strategy for debuffing. They don't like to deal with any of that. They just like to hit things and watch it die. And if that's what you want to do, you have to grind. Because you're not going to be able to kill some of that stuff unless you grind. But I also think stuff like the Zodiac Age incentivizes grinding in a really cool way, because even regular mobs drop license points, and you can auto battle.
Yeah.
So if you want to grind, you can just run through an area while watching a movie, right? You don't even have to do anything. Your characters will fight for you. You can go back, you're good. But I also think people look at grinding as I have to do this, when in a lot of games you don't have to if you just utilize the mechanics the game has. Don't get me wrong, there are games where it absolutely does force you to grind, and that's a problem. Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon is one of my favorite games in the last couple years, and you have to grind at a certain point because the levels just jump. You have to be strong enough to take on those enemies, and that's not good grinding. I think that's the example of bad grinding. But to finish off my little speech here, what I love most about grinding is in games like a Final Fantasy Tactics, or games that give you the opportunity, like a Diablo, right? Where leveling is not just part of the experience. It gives you access to all of these cool new things. And so, like, I want to stop and don't go do the next story thing yet because I want to unlock this next job in Final Fantasy Tactics. And so I want to grind a little bit to get this next job unlocked. And then I'll continue the story. And Tactics levels things to your level, so it doesn't matter if you grind or not. It's still going to have a challenging experience. But you want to, you know? Final Fantasy V, where you're leveling up these jobs and you want to be able to use them all. Final Fantasy Strangers of Origin, the newest one. Strangers of Paradise, sorry. Grind it out, you know?
Final Fantasy kind of comes with the expectation of grinding as well.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, which in Final Fantasy 1, the original, you're doing original. You're doing a lot of grinding.
Yes.
In one little area, but once you go off that area and you're ready to go to the next area, you never have to grind in that area again.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 2's grinding was awful.
Yes, that's bad.
It was probably one of my most disliked, at least in that series, at least in the Final Fantasy series.
Absolutely.
Absolutely awful. And Dragon Warrior the original Dragon Warrior kind of started with grinding. Now this is old school grinding where it was just, it almost had to be built into the gameplay to make the game last.
Yeah, because you got to get to a certain point before you can go further.
Right. To make the game last. Now, in Dragon Warrior, I never found a way to, like, jump the grind.
Yes.
Like I did in Final Fantasy. Like, you can go get the rat's tail early.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And you can jump the grind a little bit.
Yeah, go kill those ogres with some fire spells in Final Fantasy 1 and get 2 levels each time, basically.
Yeah. So, and in Lord of the Rings, a lot of times, there's a way to jump the grind. If you're doing the main storyline quests, you're going to be banging out so much experience that your grinding is going to be, minimalized. If you're not busting out those quests, you won't do that. But for some games, there's one I'm coming to. It's not a Conan game, but it was absolutely awful. I can't remember the name of it right now. But even I need a reason, right?
Yes.
Why am I going out there? There's some games where it's like there's absolutely no, why would my character be doing this?
Right.
There's no point in my character be doing this. There's not an, like a simple one in Lord of the Rings is wolves. There's a den of wolves. Hey, there's getting too many wolves. Go kill 10 wolves, right?
Right.
You can grind that out with a quest.
Absolutely.
But there's too many games or too many times where grinding just comes down to, hey, you're going to spend time with our game.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's where it really shines, is when you incentivize grinding in a fun way. Either you have a fun mechanic you're going to unlock by grinding a little bit, you have a fun quest you're going to do, You're going to learn more about the world. I think a big one that gets brought up a lot that I guess I understand why people don't like it, but it doesn't count to me as grinding, but I guess it is in FF14, there's these things called aether currents that you have to go find to be able to fly in the zones. You have to go find those. You have a compass. It'll point you in the right direction, and you go manually find those, get them. But you also have to do side quests, specific side quests in the area to unlock more of those aether currents. And it automatically gives you don't have to go find those then. It just automatically gives them to you. But you have to do those. And people consider that grinding, and they hate it because it takes a while. But those side quests are also important information you need to know about these areas. So as you're going to get these, to be able to learn how to fly, you learn the entire area. Now you have access to it. Wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go, you can do it. You don't have to manually run there. You can fly. Yeah. You know? And to me, that incentivizes that. But
but you're getting more there than, just merely level.
Right.
You're getting extra, you're getting extra movement, the ability to move around. There's the extra stuff that comes with it.
Right. Incentivize it. And that's all I think it really takes. Yeah. And people get weird about it. Like, again, I don't think you should ever have to grind in an RPG. But I think if you want to grind, you should be able to. Bravely Default is one where finish the story and your main characters, your 3 main that you got first, are probably going to be high enough level to go into the epilogue. The rest of your team's probably not, Yeah. You go do the side bosses, the side quests, and the super bosses, and you're good to go. But if you don't want to do that, then it's a heavy grind, And I get why people don't like that. Me, that's something that I can do passively while I'm doing other things, and I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I do wish it was incentivized better, for sure. But I don't mind grinding because most of the time when I'm grinding, I'm doing something else anyway.
Yes. There's something else. There's some kind of incentive, like you said, or reason, some story reason, something that goes along with that.
Collectibles are great.
I like collectibles too. Lotro has lots of collectibles. You cannot 100% Lotro.
Right. The best collectible is still Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, getting all those shanties.
Yeah, those were good. That was in Black Flag and Rogue.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Yeah. What was that?
New songs for the crew to sing. Rolling down to old Maui. Let's go.
I don't know. I think grinding can be done right.
Yeah.
Can be part of the game. At least make it, feel like you're doing something.
Yes.
Instead of, because you want to play an idle game, go play an idle game.
Exactly.
I don't want to stand there just going off. Like I said, in some games that have some grinding into it,
feathers were okay.
Or just don't pull it off very well.
I think my least favorite variant of grinding is when you're playing a game and you get a new party member and they're level 1. What are you doing, game? Why are you giving me a level 1 character when the rest of my team's like 30?
Right.
I got to pull this person up. And the game goes, well, actually, if you'll grind this person up, then, they're going to be way better than everybody. I don't care. They're level 1. What are you doing? And I think the same problem comes up with, like, Pokemon, right? I'm one of those weird people that loves Nuzlocke. But I 100% have started hacking in rare candies to my Nuzlocke. Because when I catch a new Pokemon and it's 30 levels below my team, I don't want to go grind that. I don't.
Yeah.
I'll just boost it up to everywhere else. And I know it won't have the EVs, then it won't be as good. But guess what? If it dies, it dies. I just don't want to have to do that.
Pokemon is so dark.
And I have the same problem with, like, I love Fire Emblem, right? I've said it many times. I adore Fire Emblem. There are characters in Fire Emblem that are not good unless you grind them. Yeah. That are just patently bad at start. And I think the biggest example is probably like Nino, though Est is the one people always use. In Fire Emblem 7, Nino starts at level 1 when you are like well into the late game, and most of your characters have already ascended to their second class by hitting either like getting to level 20 and using an item or leveling them early into it. And so your characters are effectively like 37, 36. You get a character that is 2 levels away from being capped second class the same chapter you get Nino. And she's level 1 first class. And if you get her up there, she's pretty good. But everything in that level can one-shot her. So you have to constantly baby her to get her up there. And I hate it. Because my brain goes, but she's going to be really good, though.
Yeah.
I love Nuzlocke, but I fully understand why other people don't. They're super weird. Have you spent any time with Nuzlocke? You know what a Nuzlocke is?
No.
So no, a Nuzlocke...
I definitely never did that to one either.
A Nuzlocke is where you can only catch one Pokemon per route. I mean, you can change the rules as much as you want. You can only catch one Pokemon per route. And if the Pokemon faints in battle, it's dead. You have to release it or put it in the box. You can't use it anymore. So it's a much more difficult way to play Pokemon, and you have to play very specifically around critical hits and understanding how much damage a crit can do. There's a lot of math in it, which I'm very bad at, so I lose a lot. But I enjoy it a lot more than the regular Pokemon playthrough now, probably just because I played the regular playthrough so much.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think that's pretty good. What do you think?
I think it did pretty good. It's pretty good. The some interesting news stories today. On to that.
Yeah.
Cover through that. I don't know what's coming up in the
first one you come across. Yeah, it depends on like your rule set. I play with the rules of no dupes. So like if I run into a Rattata and I've already caught a Rattata before, then I'm not going to catch that Rattata. I'm going to catch the next Pokemon. I don't want a whole team of the same Pokemon.
So these are just self-restrictive penalties?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just challenge modes to make the game more fun.
Like I'm going to beat Skyrim with a fork?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to beat Dark Souls 2 with the ladle.
Naked, not
get
hit.
I figured when I put the title there that joke would come up at some point. I'm surprised it took that long for it to come up. So let's get into plugs. You have any plugs this week, Rungren?
You know what? I'm gonna plug myself because I put a video up. Do not cut that out. I realize I shouldn't have said that. I put a music video up on Rumble.
Yeah.
If you wonder why Rumble, that place needs some culture.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go over there and be a flower in a desert instead of a dandelion in a field of tulips.
Yeah.
So you can look at Rungren on Rumble and watch the video.
Sounds good.
I'll let you know when I make a penny.
Sounds like a plan.
Through that.
I feel like I did have some plugs, but I have forgotten them by this point. Dark's got a plug. Oh no. Yeah, I had something I was gonna plug. But AGQ started, so don't forget about that. And then I wanted to give a quick shout out. I've remembered my plug. I wanted to give a quick shout out to a lot of the old guard of YouTube are leaving. They're quitting. The pressure's just become too much.
Yeah.
And just a quick reminder that if you're watching a YouTuber, and I'm not saying this for me, I've got pretty thick skin at this point. There was a good span of time where, because of a couple of videos I made, I was getting a death threat a week or more. It's not just the pressure from you as the viewer, it's also the pressure from YouTube as the platform. And the pressure from YouTube is immense to perform, to make more content, and for it to be better. YouTube will remind you every time you upload a video how well it did against your previous videos, and will even say, like, you did worse this time than you did last time. And it's just like, ugh.
It's as bad as the old Dr. Pepper caps. When
Yep.
you flip over a win, because they just flip them over and be like, you're a loser.
Yep.
That's what it said.
It's pretty much that. So, it's a lot of pressure that just wears you down. And I think that in a lot of ways, I'm not saying be nice to YouTubers, because like that's, treat people however you're going to treat them. You should be nice to everybody, in my opinion, but
Yes.
But don't try to understand when your favorite YouTuber tries something new or takes a new direction for their channel. Try to understand they're just trying to make YouTube get off their back and the comment sections get off their back, because it's tough having both. I won't lie to you, it's tough. watching those subscriber counts go up and then drop again, or go up and then drop again, and getting messages from people that have unsubscribed being like, well, you started doing this and I didn't like it, or you didn't do this enough and I didn't like it. Like, look, I'm just trying to do my best here, you know?
All right, I would like to call it, I'm going to call it Dark's plug, Arcane Anthems, this D&D parody songs.
Nice.
And also, yeah, there's a lot of stuff a lot of people have left for some of the policy changes.
Yeah.
And some people have left YouTube for the simple fact that they got copyright strikes or their videos taken down and have no recourse on it. So,
well, then YouTube, like, they constantly find ways to take money from you.
Yeah.
Like, either somebody's copyright striking your stuff and you try to fight it back and you can't, or a company is claiming your video and not like striking you, but just claiming you, and they didn't make it, and you know they didn't make it, and there's nothing you can do about it, Rooster Teeth. Claiming our stuff when I know you didn't make that. There's nothing you can do, you know? And YouTube won't listen when you try to fight back against it, and then they just continue to put pressure on you to make better stuff. It's really annoying, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And the well, yeah, they do have their copyright claim is absolute crap.
Yep.
The way you have to handle it, it's ridiculous and weak. And they're wanting they want to live under the protection of 230.
Yeah.
As a not, we don't publish stuff.
Yeah.
Yet we will censor and shut down. So.
But like we talked about earlier, and Dark, I saw had responded to it, and we had already moved on, so I didn't go back to it. But the song earlier, right? What's New Scooby-Doo? I can't not sing it because it's going to get DMCA struck. I can't sing it because it'll get claimed. Me singing a song with no background music will get claimed because someone will say, well, we own that song he was singing. We recognized it. We own that. Whether they do or not, I can't do anything about
it. You have to change the melody.
Yep. Write your own song.
You can use the chords.
Yep.
You can't copyright chords, but you can't use the melody.
Yeah. It's YouTube is rough. So just, when you see people that like Insane in the Rain that have been making music on YouTube for 12 years, and like he's leaving the platform, he's just gonna make his own music to sell now, separately. Like, that's tough, man. Just to see these people that have reached good success that are just crumbling under their own success. You make a cover for an Undertale song that goes viral. You're never gonna make a video as good as that one again, no matter how hard you try, and YouTube's gonna remind you of that every single time. it gets to you, man. That one Gundam video on this channel did really, really well, and everything after that hasn't, and YouTube will just remind me sometimes, this video has like a 0.227% next to your best video. And it's like,
that's another reason I went with Rumble. Rumble's like, hey, look, we'll monetize this, you make money out of it, we keep 40%, you get 60%.
Yeah.
And if you're Rumble only licensed, then I can take it down at any time.
Yeah, always do Gundam videos, all I'm hearing. I mean, probably going to do some building videos soon. Got to build those model kits. But I've been trying so hard to get the house ready for the Warhammer and Gundam stuff, and just it's not done yet. But soon.
I got singing to do tomorrow.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not a very good singer, but I'm going to get these vocals down. I appreciate that. I'm going to get these vocals down, go through that.
Media's waiting. It's coming. All right, well, I guess with all that, we'll cycle into the outro here. Just as a reminder again, Thursday podcast, same time, 7 CT. No, I'm going to build them. They're all back there waiting. We're going to be talking D&D. Lots of cool stuff coming up. Some leaks of a new book have already been announced, but I don't know. I don't know yet how true they are. Hopefully by Thursday we'll have some more concrete information. But
yeah,
that's true, Dark. But life's been rough, as it always is. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming, so please look forward to all that. And again, if you want to get into the Discord, where you can get early access to videos that go up on YouTube when I finish them, and you can get some notifications, stuff like that, to the podcast. Hang out with us, though. As always, we are busy, so if we can't respond immediately, I'm sorry. But if you want to do that, go check out our Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to the Discord, and we have a good time in there.
Do me.
All right. Well, with all that said, then, I've been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
And we've been the Full Spectrum Podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that life has to offer.